Alright, so this is going to be the part 4 of our manual cell counting, the platelet count. So, yan. Learning objective, wrote, blah blah blah, thunder, lightning. Topic overview, morphological characteristic of platelets. I'm not going to delve into this one kasi we have already discussed this one during our discussion with your platelets from our midterm. So maybe you can just consult your textbook or your notes when we did those lectures. To my estimate, okay naman yung usapan natin about your platelets. Alright, methods for manual cell platelet counting. Yes, definitely. The platelet estimate, and I'm really sorry also, I'm not going to discuss about the pathologic variations with your platelets kasi we have already discussed that one during our discussion with platelets themselves, diba? So, simple lang naman, pathologic variations in all of your blood cells kapag tumaas, you're having cytosis. So, in this case, thrombocytosis. If you don't have enough, you are suffering from a deficiency, cytopenia, thrombocytopenia. Alright? So, bale ang magiging resulting topic outline natin will be methods for manual platelet cell counting and platelet estimates. So, yun naman yung lesson naman talaga. Alright, so okay, I'm going to skip this one. You already know the morphologic characteristic of her platelets, no? Now, yeah, I think this is a proper way. This is a proper place to start. So, difficulty in counting platelets. So, what's that about? Right now. Alright, so now maybe we can just pag-usapan natin ng mas masinsinan nun. How come there will come a time na you're gonna have a difficulty in counting your platelets. Okay? So, they may fragment and break down readily. Alright? Now, they are hard to differentiate from fat, stain, or debris. They may adhere to glass or to foreign bodies or even to each other. Okay? So, ang mindset dito, guys, just think about it this way, no? Every time na I talk about platelets, palagi ko na lang sinasabi sa inyo na if a single platelet gets to be activated, it will trigger the rest of the surrounding platelets. Diba? Now, if your goal is to count these cell fragments, or let's say this particular cell type, kailangan ma-preserve mo yung integrity nila, di ba? So, ang logic, what are the things to look out for? Let's say, if you're going to counter platelets. So, kunin natin muna to statement na to, no? They may fragment and break down easily. So, what does it tell us? If they can agglutinate, they can fragment, or they can break down readily or rather quickly. Now, so, kapalaw siya sa buong idea na they can disintegrate rather rapidly. Diba? So, ang logic, if they can decrease rapidly, it might cause a falsely decreased platelet count. Diba? So, just keep that in mind. No? So, ayan, pwede siyang maging cause ng errors or ng discrepancy kasi we are performing a cell counting. Diba? Another thing, so dito naman tayo. So, they are hard to differentiate from stain, fat, and debris. So, ang concept, no? Somehow, if na-mistake, while you are performing the cell counting, tapos meron diyang mga debris, and somehow you have misidentified them as platelets, it can cause falsely increased platelet count naman, di ba? So, falsely increased platelet count. So, I think that's how it works, no? Now, their affinity to glass or foreign objects, and particularly to each other. So, pag sasabihin lang natin na doon nakapaloob yung concept ng platelet aggregation, di ba? Now, kapag ang platelets nyo nag-aggregate, so let's say, nag-form sila ng one solid clump, ang magiging result nun sa kabuuan ng cell count mo, it will cause a falsely decreased platelet count. Diba? So, with that, now, let's just say, para ma-prevent natin yung mga ganitong klaseng ng scenarios, meron, well, of course, definitely, you have to follow the standard procedure, and everything starts with the proper specimen, di ba? So, para maiwasan mo lahat yan, kailangan sundin mo yung standard procedure, and in following the standard procedure, you have to use a proper specimen. Okay pa? Now, dadagdagan natin, no? Kasi, ganun naman ako. Now, so, summarize natin ng konti, no? Kasi, lagay mo dyan sa metaphorical corkboard ng utak mo, what are the reasons why platelets are hard to count? Ayan. Come again, sir. So, dyan sa metaphorical corkboard ng utak mo, lagay natin, reasons why platelets are hard to count. Reasons why platelets are hard to count. Alright. So, number 1. So, nandiyan na. Dadagdagan lang natin. Na? Now, sige. Wait. Alright. So, number 1. Platelets easily disintegrates, causing falsely decreased platelet count. Number 2. They are hard to differentiate from debris. Due to the fact that they are small. Alright, and so since they are very small, they can easily be confused with dirt or debris, causing falsely increased platelet count. Another thing, improper handling of your specimen can cause spontaneous platelet aggregation, causing, again, another falsely decreased platelet count. Magdadagdag pa tayo na, if somehow you are using a specimen from skin puncture, it will be less desirable kasi it has a tendency for, again, platelet aggregation causing a falsely decreased platelet count. So, doon ako papunta. Come again, sir. If somehow you are using a skin puncture specimen, that will be less desirable. This is according to Rodax because if that is your specimen, you have a higher than normal chance, or your specimen is subject to higher tendency of platelets aggregating with each other, forming clumps, hence platelet aggregation, hence falsely decreased platelet count. Alright? Nandiyan na tayo, na. So, nandun yung mga bagay na, those are the things that you should look out for in case you want to perform your manual platelet count. Alright? So, nag-jump agad yung topic sa methods and how are you going to perform yung manual platelet count nyo. Although mamaya i-discuss pa naman to ng mas masinsinan, na bigyan ko na lang muna ng justification. Alright? So, you have two broad categories for your manual platelet count. You have the direct method and you have your indirect method. Mag-start muna ako dun sa indirect para meron tayo agad na proper vantage point. Alright? So, 1 and then 2. Sir, so, think about it this way, na bakit siya tinawag na bakit muna siya tinawag na indirect method? The reason why it is called the indirect method, so lagyan muna natin yung definition. So, the reason why it is called indirect method is because platelets are counted. Natin. Platelets are counted in relation to 1,000 red blood cells in a single peripheral blood smear. Come again, sir. The reason why tinawag siyang indirect method, so i-break down natin na yung platelets nyo daw, platelets are counted in relation to 1,000 red blood cells in a single peripheral blood smear. Okay, so for starters, so kaya ito yung picture na nandyan, guys, kasi para ma-perform mo daw yung indirect method, kailangan mo munang i-consider yung red blood cells while using a peripheral blood smear. Okay? So, nandun na, kaya siya indirect. Kasi ang formula, if you're going to perform the indirect method for manual platelet cell counting is this. Paki-observe ha. Red blood cell count multiplied by the number of platelets counted, divided by 1,000. So, yun yung formula for your indirect methods. And then, ang result mo is expressed in platelet count per cubic millimeter. So, while counting your platelets, we are pertaining that much consideration sa number ng red blood cells. Okay? Kaya siya tinawag na indirect. Alright? So, meanwhile, so lalagay ko na rin dito, no? Isang malaking not reliable. Alright. So, dun tayo sa direct method. Bakit naman daw siya tinawag na direct method? So, i-define ko ang direct method for manual platelet cell counting, ha? Direct method implies na you are using whole blood. So, lalagyan natin dito. Implies na you are using whole blood as your specimen. Diluted using a proper platelet diluting fluid. Using either red blood cell or white blood cell thoma pipette, and your specimen is counted in a hemocytometer. So, kaya yun yung picture na nandyan, guys. So, alam mo na kung baka siya tinawag na direct method. Kasi, you are not considering other cell types. You are simply counting your platelet just like any other manual cell counts. Alright? So, nandyan ka. Napaka-simple lang, no? Now, board exam question. What is the reference method for manual cell counting of platelets? The reference method is by Breacher and Cronkite. Alright? So, guys, I'm really sorry na, pero i-memorize nyo po yan. Madali lang naman. Ang rule of thumb natin dito, pag mag-exam na kayo, kapag dalawa yung nag-develop ng method, direct method yun for manual platelet counting. Palagay ko nga dito, Breacher and Cronkite. Alright. Pag indirect method, isa lang yung nag-develop nung platelet counting. Okay? So, nandyan nga. Now, doon na tayo sa types ng specimen. And by the way, sige, okay na yan. I think na-capture nyo na yung idea. Now, for the type of specimen, you can use, so, the preferred specimen is EDTA-treated venous blood. Sige. So, alright. I'm really sorry na para akong nagdi-drift. Ang dami kasing information na I'm trying to consolidate it in my mind. Now, so let's say mag-start muna tayo sa preferred specimen. Tama naman to. Now, the preferred specimen for manual platelet counting is EDTA-treated venous blood. Right? You may use some other specimens pero they carry with them certain disadvantages. Okay? Gusto ko sana i-share kasi guys, there are a lot of registered medical technologies claiming na the best specimen also for the preparation of peripheral blood smear is direct skin puncture specimen, capillary puncture specimen. There are actually there are a lot of registered medical technologies still claiming na the best specimen daw for the preparation of peripheral blood smear is a blood from capillaries, no? Non-anticoagulated blood specimen from the fingertips of your patients, no? Capillary puncture specimen. What I would like to point out is the fact, like, you're always risking the chance of spontaneous agglutination kapag ganun yung specimen na ginagamit mo. Okay? Kaya ako siya sinasabi ngayon kasi Kasi it follows the same logic kung bakit ang preferred sample natin for platelet count is EDTA-treated venous blood. Okay po? Kasi kapag ito yung specimen na ginamit mo, you are not running the risk of spontaneous agglutination. Okay? So please, wag nyo na lang din pahirapan yung sarili nyo and also your patients. Na? What if magko-collect ka rin naman ng EDTA whole blood as your specimen and you have to analyze hematologic sample, why bother piercing the fingertip of your patient whereas you already have the best specimen for peripheral blood smear and for a lot of manual cell counting. Okay po? So, please keep that in mind, no? Future interns. Okay, hindi ko alam kung saan nanggaling yung kabaliwan na yan, no? Hindi ako naging victim. It's more of, tumagal ng trabaho ko dahil sa ganung paniniwala. Okay po? Now, ano pa yung mga ibang specimen na pwede natin gamitin? So, ito na naman, capillary puncture sample daw. Na nakalagay na din naman dyan, it may yield lower count due to the platelet addition to the wound. So, ganun lang naman. No? Long story short, sabi ko sa inyo palagi, every time na your blood vessel gets to be broken, yung mga surrounding platelets dun sa area, they have a tendency to adhere kasi God made them to do so. So, platelet count may be lower since platelets may be lost at the puncture site kasi they will adhere to your wound. So, it's that simple. Wag na natin pakomplikaduhin. Okay. Now, meron lang actually, this is very rare. Pero let's say, for example, ayun na, nasunod mo na yung yung friendly advice ko na gumamit ka ng EDTA-treated venous blood for your manual platelet cell count. Ano naman daw yung very minute disadvantage, very rare na disadvantage na pwedeng manggaling doon sa specimen, no? Pwede ka daw maka-observe ng tinatawag na platelet satelitosis. The name will tell you all about it, no? Pag sinabi nating platelet satelitosis, these are platelets surrounding your neutrophils, no? So, ito yung literal translation, ito yung standard definition. Pag sinabi po nating platelet satelitosis, this is a phenomena that may occur when you are using EDTA as an anticoagulant. Alright? This refers to the adherence of platelets around granulocytes, especially neutrophils, producing a ring or satellite effect. So, ito yun. No? Ito yung neutrophil mo. Now, gumamit ka daw ng EDTA, chances are, yung mga platelets pwedeng mag-adhere doon sa neutrophils mo. Okay? Now, this may cause a problem in automated cell counting. Just please don't forget. Okay? This may pose a problem sa automated cell counting and hindi po sa manual cell counting. Bakit naman ganon, sir? Siyempre, kapag ang pine-perform mo, manual cell counting, makikita mo na yan, nag-aral ka ng hima, alam mo kung ano magiging effects. Diba? This may cause a falsely decreased platelet count sa automated cell counter. Kasi hindi kayang i-discern ng machine mo na ganito yung nangyari. For your machine, kapag ang nabilang niyang platelets ay mababa, the platelet count is mababa. Alright? So, ngayon, madali naman i-remedy. No? So, this is how it works. If somehow naka-observe ka ng platelet satelitosis while using EDTA as a specimen, you can just recollect. Actually, you may recollect specimen and then put your specimen in a citrate tube. Okay pa? And then, if you're going to perform your manual cell count using sodium citrate as your anticoagulant, you have to multiply your result by 1.1. That is taking into consideration na it has everything to do with the 9:1 ratio ng anticoagulant natin sa citrate tube. Okay? So, yun lang. Now, let's say for example, nabigyan na lang natin ng hypothetical. Actually, magagamit nyo talaga to in practice. Let's say for example, nagpe-perform ka ng delta check, alam niyo na siguro kung ano yung delta check, kino-compare niyo yung results ng platelet count nyo sa isang pasyente. Okay, sa mga previous results niya, okay naman yung platelets niya. And then, all of the sudden, biglang nag-drop yung platelet count niya. Now, let's say for example, iniisip mo lang, what if platelet satelitosis to? You are using machine in this case, ha? Pwede mong gawin, mag-recollect ka ng specimen, no? Tapos ilagay mo sa citrate tube, i-run mo ulit doon sa machine, and then i-multiply mo yung result ng 1.1, yun na talaga yung platelet count niya. Okay? So, sana hindi nyo na lang malimutan, no? So, long story short, let's say for example, doubtful ka sa result ng platelet count mo, huh? So, as in, malakas lang talaga yung kutob na no, this is a falsely decreased platelet count. All you have to do is to recollect specimen, put it in a citrate tube, i-run mo sa machine mo, i-multiply mo yung result sa 1.1, and there you have it. That is your actual platelet count. Alright? Sa automated analyzer kasi, well, let's just say, no, I think for me, it's better to release an accurate result than to, kumbaga, if meron kang hunch na ganun yung nangyayari, I think it's best na you just confirm your hunch. Na you have the knowledge, you just do it. Alright, so nandiyan ka. Alright, so dito tayo, so nag-start, oh my god, nag-start agad sa direct methods. Alright, so nag-proceed ka agad sa direct methods. Okay lang naman. Wala naman na tayo na miss out. Wala na tayo na miss out. Siguro, ito na lang, no? Bigay ko na yung normal value in general ng platelet count natin para meron na tayong vantage point habang pinag-usapan natin yung mga methods, no? Sorry. The reference interval for your manual platelet count is in between 150 to 450. 150 to 450 times 10 to the 9th per liter. So that is your SI unit. 150 to 450 times 10 to the 9th per liter. So this is SI. Now, so sana napansin nyo na from our previous discussions, from our previous lectures, if you are going to use your hemocytometer, hindi po in SI kagad yung nakuha mong result. No, you have to express it into SI. Now, so, ang reference interval, if we're going to follow the conventional, that is 150,000 to 450,000 per cubic millimeter or per microliter. Okay po? So, mamaya, i-explain ko sa inyo on how everything works. Pero, thing about platelet counts, it will always be just that. Wala siyang variation. Sobrang baba lang ng mga criteria sa sinusunod natin para ma-validate yung platelet count natin. Yeah. So, ayoko sabing less sensitive, pero we are earing towards that concept. Okay. So, dun tayo sa direct methods. So, first of all, you have a lot of variations, no, when it comes to platelet count. Now, ang din-describe po sa RODAC is yung kay Breaker and Cronkite, no? Kaso, ito kasi tinatanong siya talaga sa boards ganun talaga sa boards ng HEMA, tinatanong yung mga mas nagbibigay ng attention sa specifications ng procedure na ginagawa mo. Okay? So, bibigay ko muna ako ng main differences nung dalawa na yan, no? Now, so you have Rees and Eckers, tapos you have Guy and Leak. Sige. Now, ang main differences nila is yung diluting fluid na ginagamit nila, no? Now, sige. Rees and Ecker. So, ano muna yung formulations ng diluting fluid nila? Now, a lot of reference, magkakaiba sila ng sinasabi, pero ang kasi yung primary differences in between the diluting fluids by Rees and Ecker and Guy and Leak is the stain. Okay? Riesenecker utilizes BCB or Brilliant Crystal Blue. Guy and Lick utilizes Crystal Violet. Alright? So, nandiyan tayo, ano? Riesenecker, Brilliant Crystal Blue. Guy and Lick, Crystal Violet. Kasi, sipin mo, no? Kasi kapag isinunod natin to, both of them utilizes sodium citrate. Both of them utilizes formaldehyde only at different concentration. Okay, malilito ka. So, please, mag-stick na lang kayo doon. No? Now, sige. Check ko lang kung diniscuss, no? Hindi diniscuss. Sige. You have to pay attention to this one kasi baka hindi nyo na marinig to sa ibang lugar. Even, baka mas marinig nyo na to sa magiging review nyo for HEMA. Okay? So, didiscuss ko na kung paano yung exact procedure by Riesenecker and then yung exact procedure by Guy and Lick. I will also give you the formula. So, tapos, i-differentiate nyo kung saan sila nagkaroon ng main differences. Okay po? So, gagawa lang ako ng whiteboard. Ano ko? Sige. Okay. Sige, dito na lang. Ayan. Patingin ko siya sa dalawa. Lagay ko muna dito is yung kay Riesenecker. Riesenecker. Rieseneckers. Dito, Guy and Leaks. Alright. So, now, sa Riesenecker, so, step number 1 is to rinse your RBC pipette using your diluting fluid. So, ayan. Number 1, rinse your RBC pipette using your diluting fluid. Please take note of the pipette na ginagamit, ha? RBC pipette. Number 2 is to suck blood to 0.5 mark. So, aspirate specimen to 0.5 mark. Number 3, aspirate diluting fluid to 101 mark. Number 4, shake. Yes. Number 5, discard few drops. Ba? Number 6, charge the counting chamber. Count the platelets in 4-corner large square. So, sana nakukuha nyo yung nangyayari na. So, same lang. Ginamit yung RBC pipette. Aspirate ng blood, 0.5 mark. Aspirate diluting fluid to 101 mark. Shake, discard. Number 6, charge. Alam nyo na yan, no? Nakaka-relate na kayo dyan. Number 7, saan mo daw bibilangin ng platelets mo? You have to count your platelets in 4 corner large squares. Okay? As in WBC count. Alright? So, paano yung magiging formula natin dito? Platelet count in cubic millimeter is equals to the number of cell counted times 10 times 200 divided by 4. Alright? That will be for your Riesenecker. Now, for Guy and Lick naman, so ganito ha. From step 1, so, tama. Wait lang. Alright, so for Guy and Lick, ganito naman yung sequence. So kay Guy and Lick, aspirate or suck diluting fluid to mark 1 of your RBC pipette. Okay? Number 2 is to suck or aspirate blood to 0.5 mark. Tapos number 3, again, aspirate diluting fluid to 101 mark. So, kung napansin nyo kung ano yung differences nila, sa Guy and Lick, ang naging sequence, diluting fluid, blood, tapos diluting fluid. Okay? So, yun yung differences, yun yung main difference yung dalawa. Okay? So, ano yung ko dito? Shake. Discard. Charge. So, ayun na. Nakuha mo na yung main differences nila. Yung stain na naka-incorporate sa diluting fluid. Tapos, yung sequence ng pag-aspirate ng diluting fluid and blood doon sa procedure. Okay pa? And then, last, for your Guy and Lick, saan mo ngayon bibilangin ang platelet count mo? Sa 25 secondary square, intermediate square, ng central RBC counting area. Alright? So, ang formula naman dito, people, platelet count in cubic millimeter is equals to the number of cell counted multiplied by 10 multiplied by 200 multiplied by 1, or ang single factor ay 2,000. Alright? So, ganun ha. So, sana ang advice ko sa inyo dito, kung kaya mo pa siya i-memorize, sige lang. Pero kung ako, di ko gagawin yan. At least alam mo na ngayon. Let's say, for example, natanong lang sa boards, kasi ang hirap na maganap ng reference with this one eh. Just so happen na meron tayo, no? And I'm sharing this one to you. And to be honest, nung nagpe-prepare ako for my exam, minemorize ko din naman yan. Alright? Pero kung di mo na kaya, and if you can afford it, go. Kung hindi, I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. Okay? So, nandyan ka. Now, to summarize further, yung differences, no? Gusto ko umabot sa point na hindi nyo na to kailangan kung na maging second nature na lang to sa inyo. Okay, for recent Ecker, so 0.5, 100, 101, 0.5, 101, 0.5, tapos 101, tapos 4 corner large square, 4 corner primary square. Diba? 4 corner large square. Dito naman kay Guy and Lick, 1, 0.5, 1, 0.5, 101. Tapos, saan mo bibilangin? Sa 25 secondary square. Secondary square sa red blood cell counting area. Okay po? So, I think that's it for your Reis and Ecker. Pwede na natin pag-usapan yung pwede na natin pag-usapan yung standard procedure, which is by the way, ano yung in a broader context, ang Reis and Ecker, Guy and Lick, yung type ng microscopy po na ginagamit nila is yung bright field or light microscope. Okay? So, yun lang naman, no? Kasi sa yung reference method natin by Breaker and Cronkite, it utilizes phase contrast microscope. Okay po? So, bright field, light microscopy. So, I think you get my point, no? Now, doon na tayo sa standard procedure, which is by Breaker and Cronkite. Ayan. Sige. So, what's up with Breaker and Cronkite, Buster? With Breaker and Cronkite, ano nga yan? It utilizes a different, hindi mo siya ganun ka-unique, no? A different diluting fluid, which is 1% ammonium oxalate. So, ano po ba yung advantages with using 1% ammonium oxalate? So, number one, if you're going to use ammonium oxalate, it will remove, or it will cause lysis sa mga non-nucleated red blood cells. So, yun yung primary advantage na ino-offer niya. Lagyan natin dito. This one lyses non-nucleated red blood cells. Ay, kasi you can easily mistaken platelets with your red blood cells when you're performing manual cell count. Yan. And another thing, no? It allows your platelets to form pseudopodia. Yun lang naman, no? Recall question kasi yun from the board is it allow your platelets to form pseudopods or pseudopodias. Ayan. Yan. Hanggang ngayon, tinatanong ko pa rin sa sarili ko kung anong advantage na na-offer kapag nagkaroon ng pseudopods ng platelets. Let's say, maybe, no? Maybe, it can help you further. It can ease your manual cell counting kasi mas ma-identify mo sila. Kasi yung plasma membrane nila nagkaroon ng pseudopods. I think dun naman papunta yung usapan, no? Sige. Now, another thing, your Breacher and Cronkite utilizes phase contrast microscope. So, yun lang naman. So, paano yun, sir? Paano pine-perform ang manual cell counting by Breacher and Cronkite? Ayan. Sige, so ganito. Ang gulo kasi nung nasa PowerPoint. So, totoo lang. Sorry. Ang gulo natin sa PowerPoint na sobrang oversimplistic na. Hindi nyo na halos ma-appreciate kung paano ba siya ginagawa. Okay, so ganito. Guys, since ito yung reference method, ibig sabihin, ito yung inadapt sa tawag dito. Ito yung inadopt. Sige. Ano ba? I will do my best to try and remove yung mga discrepancies sa information, kasi ganito. Kapag magpe-perform ka ng Breacher and Cronkite, pwede kang gumamit ng magkakaibang pipettes. And yung paggamit mo ng pipette, it depends upon kung anong dilution yung prefer mo. Ayun. Come again, sir. If you're going to perform Breacher and Cronkite, you can use a lot of different types of pipettes, and your use of pipette is determined by what dilution you're going to follow. Okay? So, for example, 1:100. Lagay ko muna dito ang 1:100. This is your standard dilution. Standard dilution for manual platelet count. Alright? Yun yung fina-follow sa Rodax. If you want to sa Rodax, pagbigay siya ng, let's say, example on how you're going to make a 1:100 dilution, you're simply going to mix 20 microliter. So, example, 20 microliter of whole blood, diba? In 1,980 microliter of 1% ammonium oxalates. Diba? So, you do the math, no? Oxalate. You just do the math. That is 1:100. Alright? Now, kasi gagamit ka naman daw ng WBC pipette. If ang platelet count mo is less than 50, per chamber. Hindi na nakakalimutan na ulit. Let's say for example, pinerform yung standard procedure using 1:100. Tapos, habang nagpipilang ka na ng platelet sa counting, habang nagbibilang ka na ng platelet sa unang counting chamber mo, ang nabilang mong platelets ay less than 50 lang. Di ba? Less than 50 lang. You have to repeat your procedure using 1:20 dilution, kasi nga konti, so wag mo nang masyadong i-dilute. That is the logic behind it. Pero in order to perform this dilution, you have to use WBC pipette. So that's how the story works. Alright? Meanwhile, kapag ang platelet mo naman daw sa isang chamber ay lumagpas ng 500, sobrang taas naman, no? You have to dilute your specimen even further. Diba? So, gamitin mo 1:200. Anong pipette yung gagamitin mo? Red blood cell pipette. So, it's that simple. Okay? Now, ayan. Hindi ko to napansin. No? Actually, wala na talaga akong pakita sa PowerPoint. So, ayan. Diba? So, ganun lang naman. No? Yun lang naman yung some considerations you have to follow if you're going to perform breaker and Cronkite. Okay? Now, ano pa ba hindi ko nasasabi? Now, let's say for example, nandito na, since nabigay ko na yung standard dilution, tapos alam mo na yung specimen. Okay, so, paano siya ginagawa? Ayan. Let's see. Dito na tayo sa, tingin muna kayo dito, no? In the direct method, breaker and Cronkite pa din. You have to count your platelets in 25 intermediate square. The morphology of your platelets, they appear to be round or oval bodies with a light purple sheen. Alright. Sige. Anong pakialam ko dyan, sir? So, ganito. Alam mo na ngayon kung paano mo siya i-count. Diba? Paano nga yun, sir? So, pwede na natin bigay yung standard formula natin. Platelet count in cubic millimeter. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, the number of platelets counted multiplied by the dilution factor. Ano yung standard dilution natin? 100. Diba? Tapos, so ano yung mapupunta sa denominator natin? Ang mapupunta sa denominator natin is, what do you call this? Ano yung mapupunta sa denominator natin? It's just simply, isa lang, no? Kasi guys, ang area nito is 1 millimeter for a total area of 1 squared millimeter. So, the area counted is 1 squared millimeter multiplied by the depth, which is 0.1. Okay, so for the standard formula, if you're following the standard procedure, since ito yung magiging formula natin, yung mapupunta sa denominator will be 1 times 0.1. 1 multiplied by, tama ba? 1 multiplied by 0.1 is just plain 0.1. Okay, so ganun lang siya kasimple, no? Huwag yun ang pahirapan yung sarili nyo. Ngayon, ang tanong, since we are following the standard procedure, hula ko, sir, meron din yung single factor. Opo, meron yung single factor. So, if you're going to count platelets using the dilution factor of 100 in an area of 1 by 1, ang magiging single factor natin would be platelet count in cubic millimeter is equals to the number of platelets counted multiplied by 1,000. Okay po? So, ganun lang siya. Again, sir. So, ayan. Yun na yun. No? Single factor natin, 1,000. Alam mo yun, you know how the single factor works. So, I think that's it. Now, so, dito lang tayo, no? Konting, I really hope ba, kaya nyo na itong gawing mag-isa, no? Now, the depth will always be 0.1. Following the standard procedure, the number of circle counted is 25 secondary squares from your central large square. The total area counted is 1 millimeter. The volume counted is 0.1. So the total volume counted will be 0.1 cubic millimeter. So, refer back to your formula. Kung ipa-plug ko lahat yan, kulang lang dyan is yung dilution factor. So, I think you get me by now. So, ulit, the platelet count in cubic millimeter is equals to the number of platelets counted multiplied by 100 divided by 0.1 cubic millimeter. Okay pa? So, at this point, sobrang simple na nung usapan. I mean, that's how it works. Alright? So, wait now. Alright, so, ito yung mga formulas nyo. Again and again. If you want to make your lives more miserable, sige, computin nyo pa to, all for the sake of having a shortcut. Pero, why bother, diba? Ayan, sige, let's go. Pero kami, hindi namin pinapahirapan yung sarili namin. Ito lang yung susundin namin formula. Kung ayaw ko niyan, ito lang naman yun. Kasi same lang yun. Kung ayaw mo niyan, ito rin lang din yun. Okay? Dito kayo mag-focus kasi pasuyin na lang, no? If you're going to utilize this formulas, No? Magiging result nyo palagi is expressed in terms of per cubic millimeter. Okay? So, ano nga yung normal value? Normal value. Yung reference interval, kapag in cubic millimeter yung ano mo, yung plated count mo, 150,000 to 450,000. So, per cubic millimeter yan or per microliter. Nangyari, pag inasog mo ng 3 beses papunta sa kaliwa, yung decimal point, nagiging 450, nagiging 150 times 10 to the third per microliter. Saka mo pa lang po siya pwedeng i-convert into times 10 to the 9th per liter. Okay? Kung ayaw mo nun, i-multiply mo sa 0.001 para maging SI. It's still the same. Okay? Sige. So, ito, this one, yung result mo na to, i-multiply mo sa 0.001. Magiging SI na kaagad yun. Alright? So, I think yung mga explanations ko right now is relatively infallible na. All you have to do is to perform your cell count. Ha? Now, dito tayo sa indirect method. Which, I'm not sure bakit natin pinag-usapan. Okay, so indirect method. Something na you are never going to use in your career. Pero, sige, nandito na tayo eh. Okay, so ano nga sir mga indirect method for manual platelet counting? You have, Dameshek, Fonio, and OLEPS. Yung dinescribe yata dito is by Fonio. So, okay lang naman. Explain ko lang ng mabilisan. Now, Dameshek, Fonio, and OLEF, they are using different types of diluting fluids. Ayun pa rin. Dameshek, Fonio, and OLEF, they are using different types of diluting fluids. Let me just gather my thoughts. Alright, so lagay ko na lang dito ng mga indirect methods. Dameshek, Fonios, tsaka OLEFs. Okay? So, Dameshek utilizes brilliant cresyl blue. Fonio utilizes 14% magnesium sulfate. OLEF, I forgot. Pero, from what I have learned during my college years, OLEFs is the best but the most tedious. Lagyan na natin dito. The best but the most tedious procedure among your indirect method. Okay? So, paano ba pine-perform, sir, yung indirects? Paano ba, sir, pine-perform yung indirect method? Now, so, again, ginagamit natin dito ay peripheral blood smear na binibilang natin dito, peripheral blood smear. So, ito na din yung formula nyo. Bigay ko lang yung just a brief explanation paano mo i-perform ang indirect methods. Indirect methods in general, the way it works, you have to, so, ang preferred specimen dito, by the way, is capillary blood. Okay? Sige. Paano yun, sir? So, step 1 is to clean the finger of your patient, and then so clean, and then puncture, and then tama. Sige. Paano nga yun, sir? Number 1, clean. So, clean the site. Ganun na lang. Clean the site. Number 2, apply diluting fluid directly dun sa site. Alright. Number 3 is to make a incision or to puncture. Okay. Tapos number 4 is to Put it in a slide. Ayan. Put it in a slide. Put it in a slide. And then number 5, make your smear. It's that simple. Make your smear. Huh? Make your smear and then stain. Of course, definitely. Then number 6 is to stain. Right after staining, bilang ka ng 100 na red cells. Bilang ka ng 1,000 na red cells. Tapos, while you're counting your platelets, your red cells, you're also counting your platelets. So the number of platelets, so ang logic dito, the number of platelets in 1,000 red cells. In due consideration, of course, of your red blood cell count. Kaya ako natatawa, sorry. Kasi, who would do such a thing? Sige. So, gusto mo yan gawin, wala na akong pakialam. Gawin mo lang kung anong gusto mo. Pahirapan mo yung sarili mo. Okay, so last topic for this not so delightful journey, platelet estimate. Paano po i-perform, sir, yung platelet estimate? Now, ito maganda. Mahalaga. What's the proper adjective? You have to know this one, especially in practice. Kasi para mo siya magiging paano ba? Hail Mary kapag Hail Mary kapag hirap ka na magbilang ng platelets mo. So, paano ba yan, sir? By the way, sir, saan ba yan ginagamit? Okay, ang platelet estimate po. One of two things lang. Your platelet estimate, you can use this one in order to verify the result of your manual platelet count. Ayan, come again, sir. Your platelet estimate, you can use this one in order to verify or validate the accuracy of your manual platelet count, diba? And another thing, let's say for example, kasi alam yun eh. There are times wherein, especially in automated cell analyzers, kasi in between the red blood cell, white blood cell, and platelets, your automated analyzers, mas prone sila magkaroon ng error when it comes to platelets, especially in platelets. Now, logic, in order to verify the performance characteristic of your of your cell counter, pwede ka rin mag-perform ng platelet estimate. So, that's how the story works. Okay? So, ngayon, ang requirement para makapag-perform ka ng platelet estimate, in its nature, it is just an estimate. No? Kaya yun yung primary utilities niya to verify an already existing result of a manual cell count. Diba? So, you have to use your peripheral blood smear, of course. Counting in using the oil immersion objective, you have to count 10 fields. 10 fields lang ba? Tama. You have to scan at least 10 oil immersion fields. Okay? And then, ang logic, you have to be able to observe 8 to 20 platelets per oil immersion field. Okay? So, nandun ka. Ang standpoint natin dito, dun sa 10 fields na yun, kapag naka-observe ka ng 8 to 20 platelets, yun yung vantage point mo. Kumbaga, yun ang reference interval. Kumbaga, in a normal blood specimen, yun yung okay. Alright? Now, paano mo siya gagawin? So nandun na yung essence. So, nagbilang ka ng 10 fields. Syempre, ino-note mo kung ilang platelets sino-observe mo. Kukunin mo yung average. Tapos, i-multiply mo sa 20,000. Alright? So, it's that simple. Okay. Now, tingin ka dito, no? Ay, nawala yung example. May example daw dapat yan eh. Sige, magbibigay na lang ako ng hypothetical na example. Sige. So, halimbawa when you are performing your platelet estimate, so, kailangan mo 10 fields, diba? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or gamitin ko na lang yung nasa PowerPoint nyo originally. 13, so, doon sa field number 1, 13, field number 2, 18, tapos 15, 17, 19, 14, 16, 17, 14, 18. So, yun yung mga platelets na nabilang mo per oil immersion fields. Okay, so kunin mo muna yung average. So, alam mo na kung paano kunin yung average niya. So, ang average na is 16.1. 16.1 will then be multiplied by 20,000. Ang magiging result mo ay 322,000 per microliter. Okay? So, this normal. You still have to know if that is normal or not. Paano siya masasabing normal? Meron tayo ngayon magiging reference range na hindi rin nakalagay dito. Paano ba yung reference range niyan? Sir, so ang reference range niyan, guys, binigay ko na sa inyo to before, na pakisuyo na lang ha, i-remind ko lang sa inyo kasi in practice, ito yung, magiging ano nyo siya, magiging rough guide sa results ng platelet counts ng pasyente nyo. Okay? Now, sabi natin, so lagay muna natin dito, reference interval ng normal na platelet count following the standard procedure. Following the standard procedure is 150,000 to 450,000 per microliter. 150 to 400,000 per microliter. Medyo as far as reference intervals goes, lawak nun, no? Medyo sobrang lawak ng reference interval na yon. Ano ngayon, sir, kung malawak? Kung malawak yun, ibig sabihin, hindi siya ganun ka-helpful. Mo na lang kakalimutan. So, paano ko siya ipi-play out sa advantage ko? Doon papasok yung utility ng platelet estimate. Okay? So, paano yun, sir? So, ganito ha. So, ang logic, ang standpoint ko dito, pag ginagamit mo standard procedure at hindi estimate, ito yung reference interval mo. Paano kapag nagpe-perform ka ng platelet estimate? Nabigay ko na sa inyo to dati, no? Ito ngayon yung magiging reference interval. Okay? So, start ako dun sa, sige, lagay ko dito, 200,000 to 400,000. This is your normal platelet count. Normal platelet count using platelet estimate. Okay? Now, ganito ha. So, normal. Sa platelet estimate, meron tayong tinatawag na quote, low normal. Alright? Yung low normal mo, 150K. Shortcutin ko na lang ha. 150K to 199K. Ayan. Yung slight decrease, lagay ko dito, slight decrease. Yun naman yung, ano ba? Bago ako magiging 150, 149K hanggang 100K hanggang 149K. Ayan. So, yun yung slight decrease. Yung moderate decrease, paano naman yun, sir? So, 99K hanggang 50K. Ayan, 50K hanggang 99K. Yun yung moderate decrease. Yung marked, lagyan natin dito, marked decrease, paano naman siya, sir? So, 0K hanggang 49K. Okay? So, ayan. So, ang factor pag pababa ka is plus 49. Sana napansin nyo. Habang nagdadagdag ka ng 49K, nagbabago yung clinical significance. Diba? Paano siya naging mahalaga, sir? Huwag mo na lang kakalimutan, ha? Please. Ha? Ang medical decision point, actually, medical decision point. Hindi nga siya medical decision point. Ang panic value, yun. Ang panic value for platelet count, if yung platelet count ng patient may bumaba na 50 times 10 to the 9th per liter. Yan. So, yun yung panic value mo ngayon. Imagine, nasa ng panic value mo? Nandito. Diba? So, kapag naging moderately decreased na ang pasyente mo, pwede na mag-manifest ng significant bleeding. Okay? Now, sige. Now, sa pababa yun, doon tayo sa pataas. Yung 401K hanggang 600K. Ba? 401 hanggang 599, sorry. 401 hanggang 599K. Yun naman yung ano, sir. Yun naman yung slight increase. So, lagyan natin dito. Slight increase. I think nakukuha nyo na yung adjective, no? So, 600. 600K hanggang 800K. Moderate. Moderate increase. Tapos, greater than 800K. Marked decreased. Alright? I increased. So, I think you get the point, no? So, yun lang for your manual platelet count and your platelet estimate. Okay? Now, mahalaga to guys, ha? No? Kasi, ayun nga. So, medyo limited yung capacity natin for verification ng manual platelet, ng automated platelet count. Kaya, there are times na baka magko-confirm kayo ng platelets. Okay? If you want to perform your manual cell count, manual platelet count, that's fine. Pero ako, kasi pag nagko-confirm ako ng performance ng machine, ang ginagawa ko, platelet estimate. Bakit? Mabilis. Okay, so that will be the end of the part 4 of your manual cell counting. The next one will be all about WBC differential. Yeah, WBC differential. Alright, thank you.